Hi guys, welcome back. Today I will be solving another interview question from StrataScratch. Of course, I'll be solving it using PowerQuery. And this one is called Host Popularity Rental Prices. So we're given a table of rental property search by users. So apparently this table consists of search results and outputs host information for searchers. So basically we receive a table of searches. So whenever you go to Airbnb is the author of this question. Whenever you go to Airbnb, apparently they create a row in their database for every property that's returned when you search. So when you go to Airbnb, type in something and press enter, you get a whole bunch of properties. And these properties are given a unique search ID. So with every search, you get a different set of properties. And yeah, this is what we're given. And we have to find the minimum, average, maximum rental prices for each host's popularity rating. And yeah, this sounds horrible, but stay with me. I'll explain everything. So the host popularity rating is defined as below. So essentially, we have to, for every house or every property that we see in the search results, we need to assign it a kind of a tag or a host popularity rating. This is what we're asked to do. So it's either new and rising, trending up, popular, or hot. And this is determined by the number of reviews. And as you'll see shortly, the number of reviews is given column in the input table, so that should be pretty easy. And there's additional tip. The ID column in the table refers to the search ID. You only need to create your own host ID by concatenating price, room type, host, same zip code, and number of reviews. So apparently what we need to do is within this table, the rows are duplicated or triplicated. So a single property, a single house, a single rental can appear multiple times in this list, and we need to make sure to only count them once. So the users can search for different queries and they see a single property multiple times, so we need to deduplicate these properties, and this is what they're asking us to do. And they've given us a very good instructions on how to do that, so that should be pretty easy, I guess. So if we take a look at these expected outputs, this is what we need essentially. So for maybe let's start from preview. So we have this house, and we have the price, and we have the number of reviews. This is set to 1. And zip code, bedrooms, beds, whatever. So we receive these search results here, and we need to group these results. We need to sum them up and do the average, maximum, and minimum. But before that, we need to deduplicate this list of search results based on this host ID that the task is telling us how to do that. So yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at how to do that. Now, I would like to start this session a bit differently. So usually what I do is just open up Excel and I paste in the data that I get from StrataScratch. But this time the data is, there's a bit more data than usual. So what I'll do instead is I will just download the data from StrataScratch. Now, I haven't found a button which would allow me to do that. So because we know how to do that, we can just get the data in a JSON format when the website retrieves it. Sounds scary? Just bear with me. So just go to Chrome. I hope you're using Chrome. If anything else, the instructions will be a bit different, but this instruction should work in every major browser nowadays. So what I'll do is press on my Mac function and F12, and what this gives me is this side console. This is used if you never used JavaScript debugger before. This might look scary, but if you worked with that, you should be pretty familiar with it. And what you do next is just go and refresh your StrataScratch website. So Shift, Command, and R. And there's a whole bunch of stuff here. We don't need that. Just press on clear here at the top. That's the clear button here. So now what I will do is go here, and this is the name of the data set that I'm interested in, that I need to retrieve, and I will click on preview. And as you can see, there's a new request here in the sidebar, and this is exactly the data that we're looking to download. As you can see, there's 166 rows here, so this would be a bit fiddly to get into Excel without with just copying and pasting everything. So instead of copying and pasting, we can just right click on this request, go to copy, and then click on copy response. It should be pretty similar on Windows. Just the UI might be a bit different to see. So now we have this JSON, and I will go to my text editor. I'm using VS Code, but you can use whatever works for you. And I'll be saving this response. I'll just Command V. I'll just paste this response into a new file called data.json. And now what I can do, because I'm in Visual Studio Code, I can do Shift, Command, and B. And I can search for change language mode, and I'll change this language mode to JSON, because this is a JSON file. This will be my language of preference. Now the other thing I can do is press Shift, Command, and B again, and type in format document, press this, and it should take some time, but as you can see, now we have this data nicely formatted. Here we have our indices, we have the column names, so we should be good to go. Now I will save this data set, and I will go to Excel now, and I'll load this JSON into Excel. So I'll go to the data tab and open my PowerQuery editor. Launch PowerQuery editor is the button that I'll use. Right, and so now I can go to my queries section. I can right click on this panel, click on new query, click on blank query, and just press next, just as usual. All right, so now I can click on query, right click and click on advanced editor, or I can do Shift, Command, and M, I believe. Yeah, and this opens up the advanced editor for me. So now what we need to do is, actually, let's do it the other way around, not to confuse you too much. So we can do this first step through UI. So instead of typing in the code to get the actual file, we can use the UI just to get the file, and we'll do the rest in code because it's a bit more convenient. So I will click here on Get Data, and I will click on More, and I will click on JSON. UI can look a bit differently on Windows, but the functionality should remain the same. So now I will click on Browse and select my file, and I will get back just when I do that. All right, so I located my file, I clicked on Next, and now I'm presented with this index, columns, and data lists here. This is a record, as you know. This JSON contains 3 records. And we're interested in columns because this contains the names of the columns, and we're interested in data. And if you take a closer look at data, you can see that there's a list of lists. And if you think about PowerQuery and if you see list of lists, what do you think about? Well, if that wasn't your question, if that wasn't your answer should be, this is a table. So we have a table here. It's a bit torn apart, but in the next step we'll glue this table back together, and instead of three weird lists in this record, we will create a table. So right click on query again, click on advanced editor, and now we have this source. This is nicely typed out for us, and in the next line I will create a new variable called rows, and this should be equal to hashtag table. This is the name of the function, which takes a list of column names, and then a list of lists, and this inner lists actually contain the values for each column, for each of the rows and for each of the columns. So if you go to PowerQuery documentation on Microsoft Learn, you have this table functions section, and right at the bottom there is this hashtag table function. This is what we'll be using today. So table function creates a table value from columns and rows. This is exactly what we need. So columns and rows. And if I go back to my Excel, I have this. I'm creating a new variable called rows, and I'll use this table function based on these column names and this data. And now if I return these rows and I click on OK, of course I forgot the comma, as I always do, and I added one comma too many. The import raw, okay, let's take a look again. Rows, yeah, this one, yeah, this is how it is. I did not clean up after myself. So yeah, table, this is the source variable which contains our pure JSON or our raw JSON data, and this is the way to get the list of columns, and this is the way to get the data. If you're working with StrataScratch, this will always be the same. So now I can go forward and click on OK, and as you can see, I get a nice table with all columns filled out. All right, so what's the next step then? We will be adding another column. So we have this search results here, and we also have the number of reviews column. This is already given. So I will be adding another column just to identify if a property is trending, new, hot, or whatever they require. So I'll be using another function called table.addColumn, and here is the documentation, table.addColumn. Here it is. So table.addColumn takes a table which we just created using this hashtag table, and then it takes the new column name. This is just a simple text, and then it takes a function which runs through every row in a table and returns a value for this column. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let me go back to my PowerQuery editor. I'll create a new variable here. I will call it added. Added popularity. This will be a new table with another column added. So added popularity, that'll be equal to table.addColumn, and yeah, table.addColumn. This is the function that we'll be using, and the first parameter is the table which we want to add a new column to. So this will be my rows table. I created this rows table before, so this will be rows. And then the name of this column will be, I will use pop rating before here. So pop rating means popularity rating. And if we go back to the task description and close this debugger and go down to expected output. This is the pop rating. This is the variable that they want in the output, so we'll be doing exactly that. So going back to PowerQuery, we have this pop rating, and this will be the third parameter is a function which creates a value for each of the rows. And if you watched my previous tutorial, then you already know what the each function does, what the each keyword does. So I'll type in each. And then I will essentially create this function. So each is actually a function which takes one parameter, and this parameter name is this parameter's name is underscore. And yeah, how the function will let me just copy copy and paste the code which I've written before, and let's see. I'll just explain it to make it quicker. So we have this function. It's called. We're using this each, and now inside we have this if statement. So we're checking a column called number of reviews, and if this column's value is equal to 0, so this means if there are 0 reviews, then we'll output new here, and this is exactly as in the description. So if the number of ratings, if the number of reviews is 0, then this should be new. If the number of reviews is between 1 and 5, it should say rising. If the number of reviews is and as follows. So I have this if here, which checks where we are in terms of reviews, and so we're outputting here new, rising, trending up, popular, and hot, and here are the values which are actually in the task's text. And if the values are beyond the specifications, let's say if they're negative for some reason, then we should just output slash, meaning we are not covering that. So okay, that's all fine, and now I can close this function. I can close this add columns, and I'll return this added popularity. Hopefully I didn't miss any columns. I didn't miss any commas. So as you can see, we added a new column called pop rating, and we have this rising and new and trending up. This is actually exactly what we need. So the next step is we could just go ahead and group these properties by this pop rating and determine the maximum, the minimum prices. And the maximum and minimum, if I think about it, should actually be already good. So there is no need to deduplicate anything, because maximums and minimums should remain the same regardless of the duplicates. But we also need to calculate the averages, and as you know, to calculate the averages, you need to sum up all the prices, all the values, and then divide that by the number of records you've summed up. And this would cause issues with averages. So we need to take the task's advice and deduplicate this search results to only get the actual properties instead of search results. So going back to the PowerQuery editor, I will add another variable called grouped. And let me just paste everything in here so it's easier to see. So I'm using a function to deduplicate this table. I'm using this table.group, and table.group is the same as in SQL group by. So if you group by a column, it only takes the distinct values, and then it can calculate additional values, let's say minimums and maximums, and we'll be using the same function in the next step. But right now we're just using, we're just trying to deduplicate the table, and we are deduplicating the table by using these attributes, which are actually specified in the task's description. So here's the tip, and you'll need to create your own host ID. It says that we'll need to create our host ID, but if I think about it, I don't really need the host ID. I just need to make sure that this host ID is unique. So if I created this host ID, it would get duplicated because there are more properties because of more search results. Yeah, I guess I explained that quite confusingly. So yeah, let me know if that was confusing. I can explain it in the next video to make it better. But anyway, so the task is asking to create this host ID by just concatenating price, room type, host, since, zip code, number of reviews. But as we don't need this host ID specifically, we can just use these attributes to group by them, and this will give us only the deduplicated rows. So if I go back here, these are the exact attributes that are mentioned in the task description, and I've added another attribute called pop rating. This is the same, this is the new attribute that we added, so we would like to keep that in the output. So I'm keeping that here as well. And table.group takes 3 parameters, but since we don't need to calculate anything just yet, we can just leave this third parameter empty, and this is what's done here. So, and now we have the deduplicated table. We are really close to the final solution, but we just need to do the final step, which is to do another grouping. And this time we'll group this grouped table. Actually, before I do that, let me just show you how the results look like. You won't see many. Let me just return the actual grouped table here. You won't see much, a lot of differences here, but you can see that there are a bit less rows here. So some of the rows have been removed because of the deduplication. And as you can see, we still have the pop rating and the price. These are the attributes which we'll use to do the minimums and the maximums. So let's do just that. So yeah, let me go back to my advanced editor, and now I can add another comma, and I can do the following. So yeah, here I'll create another variable called pop grouped, and I'll use this table.group function exactly the same as we used before. And the first parameter will be this grouped table, which I just created. And now the only parameter, the only variable that we need to keep here is this pop rating, because this is required as the output. So we don't need actual properties. We don't need the actual any other attribute. We just need this pop rating, and then for each of the values within this pop rating, we need the minimum price of the property, we need the maximum price, and the average price of the property. So inside this grouping, I'm just calculating exactly that. So I'm calculating this. So I'm getting the price column here. So I'm getting the price column here, and this actually returns a list. And now I can do list.minimum to get the minimum price for each of these pop ratings. So yeah, and then I can do the average, the same for the average, and the same for the maximums. And now I can just return the pop grouped here, and I should be good to go, I guess. And I can click on OK. And now I can see that I'm actually getting the exact results that I need. So pop rating is still here. So PowerQuery has grouped the values by these pop ratings, and it has also calculated these values here. So I get the minimum price, I get the maximum price inside each of the pop rating categories, and I also have the averages calculated here. And if I compare the value, let's just do 1. So trending up, that's 361, 476, and 685. And let's see, expected output trending 685, 476, 361. I believe that should be good to go. All right, so yeah, that's how the final solution looks like. Let me know if that wasn't as clear as you'd hope. If you're a bit confused about where these columns are coming from and everything, please do let me know. I'm sure I can do better. Just let me know what didn't work for you this time. And if you have any other ideas on how can I do better, just let me know. You're more than welcome to submit any feedback that you might have. So if you stayed this long, then you truly are our hero. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any other ideas for other videos that I should make, do let me know in the comments as well. But if not, until next time. So cheers, bye.